Commission meeting of February 26, 2019. Rabbi Decker of Chabad of North Broward Beaches will be giving us the invocation.
Almighty God, we stand before you in prayer. Look favorably upon the mayor and the honorable members of the city council of our great city of Lighthouse Point. We beseech you, Almighty and merciful God, to extend your grace to each and every member of this august body and bestow upon them the joy of life, good health, and prosperity. Bless these distinguished individuals who have been chosen to make laws and decisions for the citizens of our city. Grant these public servants wisdom and understanding in the noble pursuit of justice and equality. Give them guidance so that they will always be conscious of your presence and will strive to enact laws with honesty and integrity in accordance with your will. May they have the wisdom to turn adversity into opportunity and to transform the hard challenges that we face today into the seeds from which will sprout forth the growth of tomorrow. May our city continue to serve as a beacon of life for all people and all faiths.
We'll call the meeting to order and begin with the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Trost.
Here.
Commission President Jaffe.
Here.
Commission Vice President Walker.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Van Buskirk.
Here.
City Attorney Cirillo.
Here.
City Administrator Levitsky.
Here.
Finance Director DiPaolo.
Here.
Fire Chief Bill Martin.
Here.
Library Director Keys. Police Chief Licata. Public Works Director Schramm.
Here.
Recreation Director Lee. We're all accounted for.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The first item on our agenda is a joyous occasion, recognition of the Lighthouse Point Jaguars and, I guess, world champion Lighthouse Point Jaguars. And words that which I thought would never come out of my mouth, world champion Dolphins, but the Lighthouse Point Dolphins. So with that said, we'll turn it over to our Recreation Director, Becky Leasing, who will give us a little presentation, I think.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As we know, we got some great news about a month ago about two of our national flag football teams that went up to Orlando to represent our fine city. I wanted to let you know about this tournament. It had 179 teams, 25 states, and 4 countries. It involved a media night, a VIP championship banquet with 4-time Pro Bowl NFL athlete Devin Hester as well. And with that, our boys went up there and definitely showed us what talent we have in our small little town of Lighthouse Point. So I first want to introduce our Lighthouse Point Jaguars, which is by head coach Kerry Nowlin and Todd Donahue. If we could have Mason Donahue, Brody Fardet, Gavin Ganter, TJ Ganter, William Knight, Fisher Neiman, Sean Nowlin, Joe Payton, Gavin Sturgis, and Sterling Weibel. Come on up, please.
Yeah, text him.
You?
There we go.
You can balance it out. Perfect spot for you.
So, it was a pleasure to coach with Coach Todd and this team. I just want to, before I just talk a little bit about their accomplishments at the national championship, I just want to say, without Becky and the amazing programs that you put together, seriously, it's just been amazing what Lighthouse Point brings to the community. I know we all have kids in there, and I see Kyle and Jason that do these things as well, and others in the crowd, so thank you for that. And yeah, what I would say is just this team, we've been fortunate to have a lot of success inside of Lighthouse Point, win a lot of games. So just a quick story, we went up there and we lost our first game in the national championship by a lot of points. And instead of these kids kind of having a negative reaction to their very first loss in a long time, what I'm most proud of is kind of how they came together. And banded together like a family, and then won every game after that all the way through the championship, where unfortunately we did lose to the same team. But that's okay. I'm proud of what they did. And that's just what I'd say. I've had the privilege of seeing these kids grow up together. They're all in the same class. They've all mostly gone to school together most of this time and all been buddies. I just think they're fine young men. The way they treat other people and each other and represent this community. So, great job, guys.
And I just want to say thank you to your coaches and your moms and dads that support you and brought you up there and represented our city. And we just wanted to give you a thank you. We have a water bottle here with our Lighthouse Point National Championship representation that the city commissioners and mayor wanted to give you guys to let you know that when you're out there hydrating yourself, remember who you're representing, and we really are proud of you. So go ahead and take one of those.
Wow, cool. Yeah. Nice job. Very good.
Absolutely, thank you. Okay, I also have the pleasure to bring with you the Lighthouse Point Dolphins, which is by head coach Brent Cardette, assistant coach Dan Stifler, and assistant coach Taylor Mulkey. If we can have Logan Andrews, Jake Booth, Jack Campbell, Ty Cannon, Brent Cardette III, Taurine Green, Hudson Hall, Jaden Johnson, Patrick Stifler, and Jake White to come on up.
I know. Jack should be pretty good there.
Yes, thank you. Commission, thank you very much for letting us kind of invade your meeting here.
All right.
We
Oh,
appreciate
great.
it. Thank you, parents, everybody that's here. It takes a village. This team right here has been together for about 3 years now. I don't know what else to say other than I'm proud to just be a part of this. I've said this to them as well, that coaches lose games, players win games. They're up here because of them. We're just along for the ride. As Coach Nolan talked about the experience of the tournament, there were teams from all over the country, and nobody heard of this little city known as Lighthouse Point. However, I can assure you, in the next tournament, they will remember the name because of what these kids were able to accomplish after, like Coach Nolan, losing our first game, and then not losing a game after that, rising above what was very evident was, no offense, guys, but superior talent, but teams beat individual talent no matter what, and you guys did that. As a testimonial to them, we had a discussion before the championship game in which I asked them one simple question. Do you want to win, or do you all want to play the exact positions for the same amount of time that you did for the entire season? And every single one of them said, we're here to win. So some of you all sacrificed, but when you got in, you did your job. That was the motto all year, was do your job. The downside to winning, unfortunately, is the NFF League now is forcing us to disband. So with that, the coaches that you see up here, Coach Vaughn Cox, Coach Mark Booth, Coach Dan Stifler, and myself, I'm stepping aside. These gentlemen are going to step up and coach 3 different teams with all these kids as friends going against each other in good fun. So congratulations to you all. Thank you, Parks and Recreation Department, for everything you've done, and again, for your time today.
Remember where you came from and make sure you're representing the city well wherever you go. So thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. That is very exciting. That was one of the coolest things I think we've been able to do. The next item on our agenda is, I also believe our Recreation Director, Ms. Leasing, is going to recognize Kevin Mendez.
Come on. You ready?
Yeah, Kevin.
I guess they wanted to know.
We can let him clear out first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on up, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce Kevin Mendez, Lighthouse Point resident. In the history of the FHSSA, 13 divers have won back-to-back diving titles, and Lighthouse Point Kevin Mendez was the latest added name to this list. Mendez is 15, Pinecrest School freshman, and the youngest diver to win 3 diving state championships, winning as a 7th grader in 2016, an 8th grader in 2017, and again as a freshman in 2018. Mendez is 13 national championship and part-time USA diving national team. He is a freshman, and he says he would like to attend the University of Miami, USC, or Cornell University, among his favorites. But we wanted to bring Kevin here to show the excellent example of athleticism that we have here in our small town and the talent it brings. And the city also wanted to give you a water bottle that's for you. That says Lighthouse Point Diver, State and National Champion. We wanted to absolutely show you that.
Thank you.
Kevin, I tell you what, it is amazing watching the diving that you've done and everything. It just, the amount of time and repetitiveness, and it's a lot. And I being a swimmer and everything, I find it amazing and really awe-inspiring that you're able to do it, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And right on cue, the next item on our agenda is a presentation from Representative Chip Lamarca, who I see has a big, looks like a big check.
Hope it's a
so-
check.
Yeah, big check, so please come forward. Good evening.
Apologize for my delay. I was up at Deerfield Beach making sure that they weren't taking all the trees out, but the mayor had been there earlier. I have something I've had in the back of my car, in the trunk of my car for about 3 months, and they're trying to get an opportunity to come by and bring it. So I'm sure you have the actual money by now, Mayor and Commission President and members of the Commission. But a check from Broward County from a ways back, which was going to be used, should be used for playground equipment at Denwick. So I wanted to present that and come to say hello and thank everyone who made it out to Keeper Days dinner, and let you know how surprised I was to be honored with the other 2 Italians and former city employees, and just said it was a great event. And Becky, what an awesome weekend! And just let you know, we're having our opening session next Tuesday on the 5th of March, and hope to see some of you up there at some point in time of the session, and really here to ask any, or answer any questions if you have any. If we might, when you're done, if I could take a picture with this nice check and hand it off to you.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any? Oh, let's do the picture first.
Whatever order you want.
An ATM.
One of those prove it here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you'll take the picture and you'll take the check, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do the bill pay with the picture on that.
All yours, Mayor. Thank you. Absolutely.
Well, we have our feet on the ground in Tallahassee here. Does anybody have anything for Commissioner Lamarca? No?
Sure, why not?
I would just say that now that we have, I guess, 2 residents up in Tallahassee, that it's something that we need to really keep in mind as additional needs of the city come about. One of the things that I was struck with, I was reading an article in the Sun Sentinel a couple of days ago about Delray Beach, and they're looking into the costs of sea level rise for their city. It was a staggering number. I know we're a little bit better blessed geographically, I think, height-wise than Delray, but when I see numbers in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, that's important stuff, and a little sleepy town like us might need some help someday in those regards. So please keep us in mind up there. I know you will.
Absolutely. Might I suggest? Well, number one, that's probably in the environmental issues we're facing right now, because the economy is so good. We can say that that's number 2, but really the environmental issues we're facing, whether it's coastal flooding, sea level rise, our beaches, protecting our upland infrastructure are some of the most important things that I'm working on. And my first bill to get through a committee was a coastal management bill, which will deal with beach management and inlet management and that type of thing. But that's certainly a big issue. I know Fort Lauderdale, because of the mean level that they are, the level they are at, in a lot of the older neighborhoods, they flood on just normal high tide events, let alone what is forecast to be coming in the next 10 to 20 years. So I definitely would say that let's have you have two representatives, one at each house in Tallahassee. That's a lot for a little town like this, and you know, I would suggest looking into some of the things. I'll just give you an example. My legislative aide, Corey Stanicia, is over at the Pompano Beach meeting on some issues, and before he came back to the legislature, he worked for Tripp Scott, and he was a lobbyist, and he had a small contract with the town of Lauder by the Sea, and it was for septic to sewer replacement. And there's a community there called the Palm Club. There's 99 septic tanks there. It was an appropriation he worked on before. It didn't go anywhere. We're still working on it and getting some local match. So I'm not suggesting anybody. I'm not asking you to hire lobbyists, but I'm saying that, you know, you all as members of the board, and I know that Mike and I had gone up years before, whether it was Broward Days or another time of the year. If there are issues that are important, I would say definitely get in the mix up there. And the other thing I was surprised to see in one of our appropriations hearings where there were a lot of fire, not necessarily complete fire stations, but fire station rehabs, fire station training centers, emergency operations center upgrades, things like that, and things into the millions. So I know we always try to get some money from the federal government. It's certainly not a bad idea in you know, next year's, you know, as we move forward to make those asks.
Commissioner Marker.
Yeah, one thing I'd mention, Chip, and you can really identify with this having been a city commissioner, and I won't speak for the other commissioners, but...
By the way, it's the best job you'll ever have. If you do anything else.
But all of us are concerned about the state taking more and more away control from the cities. We look at things like short-term rentals, that kind of thing. So anything that you can do while you're up there to cover our backs and not let the state take too much of our authority away, because it seems like it's been diminished increasingly so over the past few years. So anything you could do to keep your eye on us and help us regain control, keep control of those things that are important to a small community, we feel like we're in much better position to legislate municipal issues than the state is. So anything you could do to help us in that regard would be very much appreciated.
I agree. There's not every city, town, or village is run the same way. Is governed the same way, has the same resources, but what I can tell you is that having gone through some experience in city government and county government and the Florida Association of Counties, home rule is a very important issue. I am going to be filing a bill with regard to vacation rentals, but it's merely to make sure that they are registered through DVPR and through the platform, so you'll know who your neighbor, you know, if your neighbor is renting a place on one of the platforms, you'll know what it is. But that doesn't say that Tallahassee knows better how to do vacation rentals than Lauder by the Sea or Lauder Lighthouse Point or Pompano Beach. You know, they're all very unique communities.
The last several years, there have been bills on vacation rentals to try and preempt the cities from enforcing any form of regulation, and hopefully someone doesn't try and tack on to what you're trying to do that. And I ask you to be very aware that that has happened numerous times over the last 3 years. When we passed our ordinance, worked extensively with the Board of Realtors to pass something that has been used by other cities as a model for the way to get things done in the current regulatory environment. And we don't want to lose that ability that we have, because the state has preempted a lot of things from the cities.
Indeed. Obviously that it's not as much of a frontline issue in Lighthouse Point, but Sadowski Trust Fund and affordable housing is an issue that Broward County as a whole gets swept pretty bad completely every year, with the exception of a little bit of it. And last year was supposed to be the exception until Parkland. So hopefully that trend will go back, and we'll be able to have more funds for Broward County, so that people have a place to be able to live and be in our workforce. Anything
else, Commissioners? No. All right. Thank you
Thank you,
very
Chip.
much.
Thank you.
Good luck up there.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Johnson, I did say hello to your former student.
Oh, did you? Got himself in a little trouble, too. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Mind our P's and Q's and come home early. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you.
Thanks, Chip.
Next item on our agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes for February 12th, 2019. Commissioners, I assume you've had a chance to review.
Motion to pass.
We have a motion to pass by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Long. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Finance Director DiPaolo, Treasurer's report, please.
Good evening. General fund has $2,931,252.60. Cleanup deposits, $31,400.00. Garbage and trash fund, $1,537,421.18. Special purpose fund, $2,846,042.37. Stormwater utilities fund, $481,454.84. Debt service fund, $162,361.82. Contingency, $5,483,748.00. General fund encumbrances, $355,302.20. Total all funds, $13,828,983.01.
Thank you. Any questions for our Finance Director, Commissioner Van Busker?
I just had one question. I know it's getting to be that time again. I was just thinking about the other day, it's getting close to hurricane season again, and I was starting to think about where our money's at, how close we are. I know you're working on it, I know it's just a process, but
Which money are you asking about?
for our recovery from Irma. Sorry, thank you.
Two of the projects are at the final FEMA approval level. One of them is now it's ready to be kicked over to me. So the remaining three that we were waiting on are going to be now obligated at the federal level, and they'll come over to the state level. The other 5 projects have already been obligated by the federal and state level.
What does obligated mean? Like funded?
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially, yeah.
Okay.
They're approving funding.
Funding's been approved, what we requested, but we're just waiting for the money?
Yes, none of them have been reduced, the amounts that we submitted, so.
Okay, perfect.
haven't knocked
That's what my
anything
next
off.
question was, has anything been cut out of what we've put out?
No, again, the state, the FEMA does their review, and then when it goes to the state level, they do their review. The state could decide, we could have issues that we didn't have with FEMA, I don't know yet, but 5 of the 8 have been approved by the state.
Okay.
So we're waiting to get those dispersed, and the other 3 should be heading over to the state shortly. So I'm hoping by the end of this fiscal year. That's the only thing I can hope for at this point. I just know that the state, apparently, from what I'm hearing from other people, is taking a little longer, and they're grinding things out a little bit. So it's just a whole different set of people, different sets of eyes, different policies, different everything. So
I take it we're not going to get one of those big checks like Mark just gave.
They're going to give you 8 of them.
They're going to give us 8 of them. All right. Any other questions for Finance Director DiPaolo?
Thanks, Frank, for working on that. I appreciate it.
Well, one thing while we're kind of on this topic is, can we find out whether Pompano, I remember Pompano had said they were going to have
It's on their agenda.
it's on there tonight.
The drafting is on their
Can
agenda.
someone shoot us an email tomorrow and let us know if they passed it or not?
Sure.
Maybe. Jennifer, that'd be great. Next item on the agenda, public comment and requests regarding agenda items. There's several items on our agenda tonight. Agendas are available in the back. If you'd like to come forth and address the commission about any of the items on our agenda, come forth, state your name and address, please, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing no one come forward, we'll close public comments and requests regarding agenda items. There are no reports from the city administration. There are no department reports. There are no reports from the city attorney. The next planning and zoning meeting, which I think we all know will involve a petition by the Yacht Club, is scheduled for March 5th, 2019. Code enforcement, March 19th, 2019. Community appearance, March 21st, 2019. Special magistrate will meet on March 6th. Marine Advisory Board's next meeting is May 2nd, 2019. No unfinished business, no new business. First ordinance is second reading and public hearing of an ordinance creating 42-391 relating to permitting dogs in outdoor areas of public food service establishments. City Attorney Cirillo.
Mr. President, members of the City Commission, this is here for second reading and public hearing. You passed this ordinance at the last meeting on February 12th with one condition, that the draft language regarding patrons keeping their dogs on a leash and under control and reasonable control. It turned out that language was intended to be in the original draft, and for some sort of how the printing error was, page 4 of 7 left off paragraph number 5. So it was in there already, so by serendipity, you asked for it and we delivered. But because of that, we were able to notice that this paragraph 5, it should have been printed, wasn't there, but it does read, patrons shall keep their dogs on a leash at all times and shall keep their companion dogs under reasonable control, which was consistent with the amendment that the commission wanted when you passed in the first reading. This is a public hearing.
Can I do a motion to read?
Motion to read.
Second.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse Point, Florida, amending Chapter 42 Land Development Code, Article 4 Zoning, Division 5 Supplemental Regulations and Requirements for Specific Uses, to create a new Section 42-391 to be entitled Requirements for Dogs Allowed in Public Food Service Establishments, to provide authority for dogs in certain outdoor portions of public food service establishments pursuant to state law, providing for purpose, definitions, application requirements, regulation, permit expiration and revocation, and complaints and enforcement procedures, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
All right. Let's do public hearing, folks. We'll open public hearing. If you'd like to come forward and address the commission regarding this ordinance, come forward, state your name and address, and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. No, that's at the end of the meeting. This is about this ordinance. Thank you. Seeing no one coming forward, then we'll close public hearing.
And I'll offer a motion to pass ordinance 2019-0971.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. It's legal. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is a resolution supplementing Resolution 2018-2242, approving the form of certain bond documents related to our general obligation bond in the amount of $16,500,000. City Attorney Cirillo.
Mr. President, members of the City Commission, this is here this evening to move forward the bond transaction that you've been working on since last year when you authorized this to go before the electorate on a referendum. As you know, it passed in November. And in November 17th, you took the first step by adopting a resolution authorizing a loan agreement with the Florida Municipal Loan Council and authorized the filing of the validation action, which is required by state law. On February 13th, 2019, the Broward County Circuit Court issued its final judgment of validation to validate the city's issuance of the bonds. The resolution that you have before you this evening provides the authority to take the next steps in the transaction, including the bond-specific authority to execute and deliver certain bond documents, such as the continuing disclosure agreement, and to agree on certain terms, the final terms of the bonds, such as interest and term, things of that nature. It also provides for us to continue to work with the FMLC on the bond transaction. The bond counsel, Jolinda Herring, is here if you have any questions about the resolution or the status of the transaction.
Do we need a motion to read?
We do.
I would offer a motion to read.
Second.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse Point, Florida, supplementing Resolution number 2018-2242, approving the form of and execution and delivery of a bond purchase contract, approving the form of and execution and delivery of a continuing disclosure agreement, authorizing distribution of the preliminary official statement and the official statement in connection with the Florida Municipal Loan Council Revenue Bond Series 2019A, providing certain other matters in connection with the making of such loan and providing for an effective date.
Commissioners, questions? I just have to remind me of the timeline again, assuming this passes, which I think it will. When will we go to market? And
Second half of April, beginning of May.
how are we? I think somebody had told me that, I know we had talked about going this route because of some benefits of pooling, but I think somebody told me we're going to be single issue, meaning only Lighthouse Point bonds are going to go to market. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I had. Anything else, Commissioners?
Get us the cheapest rate.
The market will dictate the rate.
Do we need a motion to approve the resolution? Yes. If so, I would offer such. Motion to approve Resolution 2019-2250.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you. Item number 3 on our agenda, resolution establishing a debt management policy. Finance Director DiPaolo.
Thank you. As you know, we're issuing bonds next month, 2 months from now. One thing that the city does not have is a debt management policy, something that we've done without for a very long time. We actually issued bonds in 2003 without one. However, going through this process with the financial advisors on this transaction and discussing some of the terms of the credit rating process, and they determined that a debt management policy it wouldn't hurt us not to have one, but it definitely helps us to have one. So I worked on putting together this policy that hopefully meets the needs of this transaction that's coming up, as well as serves us into the future. We don't want something that we're going to have to change every time we try to issue debt. We want something that's going to stand the test of time and meet the needs for today and tomorrow and the future. And also something that represents the vision of the city and the core virtues of the city and our philosophy on finance and economy, as well as does not overtly prohibit the city from doing things that it needs to do from day to day. So you have the policy before you. Again, as I mentioned, as is mentioned in the agenda report, it signals to rating agencies and capital markets that the government is well managed and therefore likely to meet debt obligations in a timely manner. So, recommend that the City Commission approve the resolution formally establishing a debt management policy for the City of Lighthouse Point.
Motion to read? Second. We need a motion to read.
Motion to read.
Thank you.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse Point, Florida, providing for a policy regarding the issuance and management of debt by the city, providing for conflicts and an effective date.
Commissioners, discussion? Commissioner Long, I have some stuff.
Yeah, just a couple questions on V number C, when it talks about exceeding the useful life of the expenditure being done. What model are we using to say what their useful life is, be it a car or a car is probably not even a good example.
Sorry, Mike, where are you looking?
V,
Yeah.
section V, C, where it says
You mean five?
long-term
Five,
debt.
Five, yeah.
I'm sorry, 5, yeah. Long-term debt issuance shall not exceed the useful life of the expenditure being financed. Just the definition of useful life, is it, tax code, is it?
Under accounting principles, there's normal useful lives for certain things, so that would be the standard.
So the accounting principles, okay.
Right.
That's what I thought, but just wanted to verify.
Is that it, Mike?
Yep.
Commissioner Mocker?
Do we have a credit rating now?
No.
So, but we'll have to have one as we proceed through the bond process.
Yes. After the last item was approved, we were waiting for that, and then the financial advisors are going to move forward and submit a package to S&P probably at the end of this week to start that process.
Do they do a comparative analysis with cities our size or budget, or how do they do that?
Yeah, they have a number of metrics that they look at. It's a pretty holistic approach. They look at everything, really. They look at our valuation, our tax valuation, our comparison of our net assets to our valuation. There's a lot of different ways that they look at the city to determine our credit worthiness.
I assume, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but that you expect that we would have a pretty good credit rating, would we not?
From what the rating the last time, I believe, was AA plus, and the financial advisors are assuming we're a solid AA on this one as well.
Okay.
I've asked a few different ways, and they keep coming back with AA. That could be plus. We don't know where it's going to end up for sure, but they're thinking it's a solid AA.
Okay.
And I talked to Frank about this, Commissioners. I think this is a really important document. I know we're doing it primarily because of the bond issuance, and that makes a lot of sense. I would like to propose some sort of change in V. Let me do it. 5A.
It's gracious.
And Frank, you maybe we're going to look at 5A.
5A.
The city shall use pay-as-you-go cash funding whenever feasible. I have no issue with including the phrase pay-as-you-go or as a matter of policy evaluating the use of cash to pay for funding vehicles first. The phrase whenever feasible just gives me some concern, because to me that means if you've got the cash, we should use the cash to pay for something. And I would think most people agree that there are some times where prudent financial practice, fiscal policy means that you don't spend your cash. I believe when we had a little discussion about this, Commissioner Mocker gave the best example because I couldn't articulate it. Sometimes financial advisors will tell you, don't pay down your mortgage, because the better thing to do is to keep that cash. Multi-billion-dollar companies with billions of dollars on the balance sheet don't spend their cash. They still borrow because it makes sense to borrow at one rate and get a return at a higher rate. So, I propose that we modify this to something, I'm happy to hear from Frank on it, like, the city shall use pay-as-you-go cash funding, provided it is consistent with sound fiscal policy. I mean, we can come up with it now, but, to me, when I read whenever feasible, I could see,
Do you like the word prudent better?
prudent, yeah. Because if I read this now...
I read the same thing. I'll be honest with you, I read the same thing, because I thought whenever we had cash, we had to spend it. That's kind of the way I took it.
How about the city shall use pay-as-you-go cash funding when financially prudent? Does that work?
We'll also go down to cash funding where it says to the extent possible and practical.
I want those to be considered.
Yeah, to me, that would be the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're
Well,
pushing that point.
Well, to the extent prudent, I mean, I don't want to make I think this is important, but I don't want to, Mayor, you're in this one.
Well, I mean, feasible, the synonym for feasible is practical, so I understand the concern. I think I would just say whenever prudent. I don't think we need to say financially prudent or anything else. I'd say prudent. Prudent gives you judgment. And that way, it allows the city administration and the commission to use their judgment. The other thing is, if something changes down the road, this document can be amended by another resolution. So I think just deleting the word feasible and using the word prudent would work, unless Frank has a different thought.
So, it's fine with me. I mean, we talk about prudence in this section before. I mean, it's kind of...
So my proposal, if someone would care to make the motion, I would propose that we amend 5A to say whenever prudent, and then I also think under cash funding, we should also say to the extent possible and prudent, just to be consistent.
Or you want to say pay-as-you-go, based
To the
when
extent
prudent?
To the extent prudent, yeah, to the extent prudent.
Possible and practical are synonyms for feasible, so to the extent prudent.
Okay.
Just delete the words possible and practical then.
Would anybody care to?
Do you want me to make that motion?
Yeah,
for you?
so you would
I do have
indulge
another
me.
question
Yeah, sure.
that raises that when you're talking about the financial example of a mortgage. When we get this money from the bond, we're not allowed to invest it, are we?
The proceeds are invested, but we're not allowed to make more than the rate that we borrowed for. So we can't borrow it and then make money on it.
You can't arbitrage it.
Right. Okay, well, that's really what my question with the pay-as-you-go is. It's not because we can make more money on the market. We're making 9%, so we don't want to use cash. But your point's well taken. I think prudence fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's more about what we have. This to me would apply with what we have on the books right now.
And I think it's a philosophical...
It is, but I could, me being somewhat of a pessimist sometimes, could see a commission 12 years from now and somebody not wanting to borrow money and saying, look, it says right here, we use it whenever feasible. So that's my concern. So I heard Commissioner Long was going to indulge.
Yeah, I'll be nice enough to help you out here and say on Section V, or 5, A will say pay-as-you-go cash funding whenever prudent would be one, replacing the word feasible. And at the bottom of that page, cash funding would be the projects with cash on a pay-as-you-go basis
To
to the extent prudent.
Yes.
Removing the words possible and practical.
Sounds like a motion to move it as amended.
I'll second that motion as amended.
We have a motion, we have a second as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Item 4, resolution establishing permit fees for dogs in outdoor areas of food service establishments. City Attorney Spillo.
Mr. President, members of the City Commission, that the ordinance you adopted earlier this evening, it does provide that you will adopt an application fee by resolution for the ability of public food service establishments to have outdoor seating for dogs. The resolution proposes an application fee of $50. The city administration had done some review of other ordinances that it was aware of, and that was generally the fee. So it's consistent with what other jurisdictions charge, and included in the packet, just so you can see it, is the form application that will be used and contains all the requirements in the ordinance and the statute.
The motion to read.
Motion to read.
Second.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse, Point, Florida, establishing permit fees for dogs and outdoor dining of public food service establishments, providing for inclusion of fees in the Appendix A, fee schedule of the city's code of ordinances, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Discussion, Commissioners.
Yeah, I just had one question. Obviously, we're going to give this out to the majority of the restaurants in our city, because now with this policy that we have, how are we going to is there going to be any issue with us differentiating those folks that are restaurants who do not want to partake in this?
This is an optional program.
I understand that, but ultimately, then, if our code people happen to drive by and there's 5 dogs out on a property, it doesn't. That's the only thing I didn't see in here, like a warning or a friendly reminder or anything like that for people that are actually, all our other codes that we have on the book, when somebody's not following that code, we have a way of basically, as Commissioner Mock always says, coming within code compliance. And I don't see anything in that.
So wait, so your concern is how will we know if somebody's gotten the application?
Right. How will we know that, obviously, we know the restaurants, majority of them that are going to apply for this, but that we have other restaurants in our city.
Right.
So I would hope that everybody would partake in this so that they could have no issues, but if other restaurants are utilizing it, we don't have a method, or at least I don't see the avenue of which to go in here and say, hey, there is a permitting, there is a small fee for you to have this. We have it on the books through our original ordinance. This is a permitting fee, and this is the ordinance for going ahead and permitting your place.
So is maybe the suggestion, I have to think it can't be that onerous we have to track how many restaurants we have in the city, right? They have to get a permit.
With outdoor seating.
Right, with outdoor seating. I mean, I'm just starting to think of it, because, if someone says, well, hey, so-and-so doesn't have a permit or whatever, and we have certain places that are outside seating or not outside seating, that's just all my question was, is that I don't see anything in here to go ahead and...
Just got a notice saying that it's a violation of 42-391.
No, I think what Commissioner Van Buskirk is saying, you want us to, can we just send this ordinance to all the restaurants with outdoor seating?
That's fine with me.
Well, maybe what we could do is just make them aware that we have passed this ordinance, and if they want to have it, there's an application and a fee.
Yeah, I think that's
fine.
hard.
Okay.
All right.
And then each year, when they come in for their business tax license, we could also do that as well, remind them.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's something that can be handled administratively.
All right. Dave.
Fine. Make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-2252.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second by Commissioner Johnson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item number 5, a resolution regarding, Broward County Commissioners urging Broward County Commissioners to amend the transportation surtax interlocal agreement to distribute proceeds to municipalities based upon population. City Attorney Cirillo, you're busy tonight.
That's fine, Mr. President. Members of the City Commission, this is here for your consideration. This is the resolution requesting that Broward County agree to an amendment to the interlocal agreement that would provide that the revenue from the surtax for transportation purposes would be distributed to the municipalities and the county by population. It's here for your consideration whether you want to adopt this resolution that would make a request to Broward County to consider that. They can do with it as they please when they receive the request, but at least you've made it if you pass this resolution.
Do you want a motion to read, and then we'll have discussion?
Motion to read. Second.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse, Florida, urging the Broward County Board of County Commissioners to amend the transportation system surtax interlocal agreement between Broward County and municipalities of Broward County to provide that the municipality's allocated share of no less than 10% of the proceeds of transportation surtax will be distributed to the municipalities pro rata based on population.
Discussion, Commissioner Johnson. I know I was going to go to you on this.
I wanted to read something that I have here that I got today from it's addressed to the Broward County Commission, and it's from the Oversight Board. And they're saying to the County Commission, on behalf of the Independent Transportation Surtax Oversight Board, I'm writing to express a unanimous resolution by our board to maintain a project-based 30-year approach in totality rather than considering a proposed municipal initiative for a population-based distribution of 10% of annual surtax revenues. While it appears that the municipal effort is grounded in a desire for a greater level of certainty in capital planning for cities, it is counter to the referendum that was approved by the voters by extracting a 10% portion of the surtax from regional planning as well as eliminating the protection of the Oversight Board. as the independent oversight board tasked with the responsibility of ensuring transparency as well as accountability that all funds are expended only for statutory eligible purposes. It's critical to our mission and purpose to know exactly how funds are being spent. A separate population-based distribution undermines our ability to readily audit programmatic, and financial aspects of the entire program. We urge the Board of County Commissioners to remain true to the spirit of the surtax-funded Mobility Advancement Plan, a transformational opportunity for our community and a legacy we leave to future generations. Signed, Alan, I can't remember his last name, the chair of the Oversight Committee. So, this is telling the County Commission not to honor what we're trying to discuss tonight because they're saying that it goes against what the voters voted for.
He just wants all the money.
Well, if they don't get the money, they're the oversight board. This is not from the county commission. This is from the oversight board who has to oversee things because the money is supposed to go to alleviate traffic congestion and enhance connectivity in a regional picture. And so I don't know that, I saw that and I know the mayor told me some cities are in favor of it. I talked to other cities today that voted it down this week. It's kind of throwing a little bit of, I don't know, it's putting us into conflict with the county before we've even really begun this. And I'm not sure that it's a positive thing to do.
I'll let you know, Mayor. I just want to, my understanding is, my concern is that it just seems like there's no, I should say guarantee. I just, if we go this approach, we might not see, our city might not see any of this. Or we would be at the bottom of this projects list. So that's what kind of leads me to think that this is a more equitable use of the funds. But I'm willing to be educated on it.
If we adopt this or not? If it gets adopted?
If it gets adopted, if the county commission listens to us.
So
It'd be better for us.
Right, that's right.
So a little
Sorry, I was
background.
confused what he was saying too.
He said it backwards, but...
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like,
He got the
You guys know me enough by now.
Okay, so the end of January, Broward Mayor Mark Bogan had a mayor's meeting. And this this concept was discussed at the mayor's meeting. Mayor of Weston, Dan Sturmer, started the process, and Weston passed an ordinance beginning of February, a reso, beginning of February, along these same lines. It's pretty much exactly the same, quite honestly. And it's asking basically the county to agree that 10% of the money, which is what originally was envisioned, would go to the cities. When the county passed around the interlocal agreement immediately prior to the election, said, you either sign this or you don't get anything.
I remember that.
So they kind of put a gun to our heads. All we're doing is we're asking the county to go back and have a reasonable approach on this, to give the cities some of the money. Because over the next 30 years, we're going to need to replace some bridges is what it comes down to, and it's not going to be bridges that are going to be funded with FDOT because they're on side streets. Secondly, there's a lot of other things that we've given the county lists of what is going to need to be done in Lighthouse Point. And the Oversight Board, in all of their wisdom, their job is not to interpret what happened when the voters approved this. Their job is to approve projects. We're not taking that away from them. Any projects we submit would still have to be approved even if we were allocated 10%. So I disagree with their ability to say what they said. I think they've wordsmithed it very artfully, quite honestly, which lawyers tend to do. No disrespect intended. But in my mind, if we don't ask, we're never going to get anything. I consider Dan Sturmer a pretty smart guy when it comes to stuff like this, and I've spoken to him about this, and I think it's something that is in the best interest of the city of Lighthouse Point to make the ask. And what's the worst thing that happens? They say no. So.
This doesn't bother me at all. I don't think it does anything to undermine the Oversight Board. I think what it says is to make sure that the cities are getting their due respect, but the Oversight Board is here. It's not going to go away. We're not saying we don't believe you and we don't trust you, Oversight Board. We're just saying there's a certain amount of allocation that ought to go to that the cities are entitled to, by the design of this voter passage, and that we still are going to want oversight and need oversight, but this doesn't take that away from what I'm reading.
I think I agree with you, except for the fact that that wasn't in the vote, that the city said, the 10%. That's going to be the sticking point and possibly what the county's going to argue, because that wasn't.
But to Glenn's point, if you remember, they put a gun to our head, and we had to, they basically said, you're out or you get nothing. Or you get nothing. So they sort of put us in this position, in my view.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. In fact, it was a gun to our head. If you really want to think about the intent, it's for all of Broward County. We are a part of Broward County. Yes, we are a separate municipality, but still within Broward County. Let's face it, we're a donor city. You know, the tax dollars that we send are a lot higher than we get back. Simple as that. And it's going to continue to happen. And it happens at so many different levels. But in this particular case, I think we should support this. I think it's not going to hurt us. I think it could help the cause. Dan Sturmer is a smart guy. He's probably 4 or 5 steps ahead on this thing anyway, so he's going to figure it out. But, you know, if we see any projects coming out of this, I would be surprised without this 10%. I mean, look what the MPO is doing now. It's something we don't even want, we don't even believe we need, but yet we're going to have a huge bike lane and cause additional traffic concerns in an area that already has very poor signalization problems, that from basically Deerfield Beach down into Atlantic Boulevard, they create a problem where there is no problem. So let's not put a lot of faith that they really are going to work on behalf of Lighthouse Point. If we have 10% of the proceeds, at least we have something out of this thing, and at least we can feel a little bit better when we put our head down on the pillow at night.
It's not even 10%, it's 10,500 people's worth of 10%.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not a lot of, it's not a big slice.
There's a lot of zeros after the decimal point.
Yeah.
Before it gets to a number.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe with new census and, you know, new population.
We'll get another 10 people, 10 people, 12 people maybe.
Every dollar.
Commissioner Johnson, I do.
Kind of every kid.
I was just going to say, in 2016, our city turned down the sales tax that was going to give us the money based on population, and we were going to get $1 million every year was going to be our share, and our city voted it down by 70%, which I still don't understand. And that would have been a cut and dry, because it was population based, and it was in the voting that it was going to be population based, but our people didn't want it. Now it's more murky to get it back, rather than
That's a good point, actually.
clear.
Mr. Van Husker, anything?
No, we have no choice at this point. We need to make sure that we get at least our hand out, and they remind us that we're still here.
At least ask.
Yep.
All right.
Well, if that's the case, unless there's further discussion, I would offer a motion on this resolution.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion with a second on resolution number 2019-2253. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 4-1. Resolution reappointing members to the Library Advisory Board, resolution number 6. City Clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
The
you.
term of office for Library Advisory Board members Mary DeAngelo and James Neff expire on March the 22nd. Both members have been contacted and are willing to serve again for a 3-year term, and we don't have any other applications on file at this time. So I'd like to recommend that the City Commission adopt the resolution reappointing these members to the Library Advisory Board for a 3-year term.
Discussion, Commissioners? Or, sorry, do we need a motion? No, we don't, right? There's no resolution.
No.
No, there's a resolution.
There is a resolution? I don't have it. Okay.
It's in the back.
It's in the back. Oh,
After the,
And
Do we have a motion to read then? Thank you.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse Point, Florida, reappointing Mary DeAngelo and James Neff to serve on the Library Advisory Board and providing for an effective date.
Who made that motion?
I think you said, can I get a motion?
Can I get a motion?
I thought Kyle said something.
Yeah, I thought.
No, I didn't say
Let's
anything.
do that.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Form over substance.
And then I apologize.
No, it's all right.
for
No, it's all right. Go ahead. Want to read it again for good measure?
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lighthouse Point, Florida, reappointing Mary D'Angelo and James Neff to serve on the Library Advisory Board and providing for an effective date.
How's their attendance? Discussion?
It's actually very good.
Library board's always good.
All right.
Yeah.
They're readers.
They're readers. They know when to show up, is that what you're saying?
All right. Any further discussion, Commissioner Evans?
No. I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-2254.
I'll second motion. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Mocker. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Brings us to the end of our regular agenda items. The next item is public comments and requests from the floor. This is the time where anybody from the audience can come out and address the commission about anything. So, sir, if you'd like to come forward, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Howard E. Lackman. I live at 2789 Northeast 24th Street. I'm a block south of the marina. I live on the cheap side of the street, not on the intercoastal side. Right now, there is, next door to me, I live on the corner, and I have the north corner of 24th Street. On the south corner is Chip LaMarca. So you might know where I'm at. Right next door to me, to the south of me, is a lovely home with a pool, 4 bedrooms, and it is Airbnb. It is not what I consider something that should be allowed in a neighborhood.
Sir, what is the address of the property?
2777 is the next door neighbor.
Is the one that's the Airbnb?
The Airbnb, yes.
2777.
Okay. To me,
Yeah.
I don't follow politics. I don't know how this was possibly even approved for a lovely city like Lighthouse Point. I've lived here in this city since 1973. I've raised 3 kids. They all went to local schools. And this, to me, is not part of a neighborhood. That's all I can really say. These people come for a day, for a week. They've even come for 2 months. Okay? Last year, during college days, we had, 7 or 8 kids from the University of North Carolina, and they got a little drunk and happy, and I think the owner threw them out. After that, during prom time, there was a group of kids, 10 or 12, I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, it was a sex orgy that they had there. A little disgusting for a local neighborhood. Again, the word neighborhood. I like to see a neighbor that I can be friendly with when somebody moves in. My wife usually makes banana bread and we bring one in, say hello, etc., etc., okay? That's my argument.
I just want you to know that you're not speaking on deaf ears. We understand, we sympathize, we have talked at length at this meeting about how we can regulate Airbnb. That was the discussion I had with Chip LaMarca when he was here. He said the state is trotting on our rights to regulate Airbnb and short-term rentals. So we're doing everything we can.
The new governor has stated that he's going to get rid of it in the entire state.
Well, there are efforts by the Board of Realtors and the Tourism Board and others to make it acceptable, and they're lobbying the state in huge efforts to try to take away our authority to regulate short-term rentals. So what you're saying, we sympathize. I have an Airbnb next to me, and I don't like it.
How did they get into it? Doesn't Lighthouse Point as a city, they don't just accept everything?
All we can do is what we can do to require them to have inspections and charge them fees and do what we can to discourage it, but by state statute, we cannot stop them.
In 2010 or 11, the state passed a statute that prohibits the cities from prohibiting Airbnb and other short-term rentals.
So we can't.
So we do what we can to regulate it, and that's why I was asking for the specific address, because Mr. Levisky will be working with our community relations clerk to find out if they are licensed, and if they are, to let them know that their behavior is unacceptable, and if they are not, we will do something about that.
And if it's loud and out of reach for you, you need to call the police department and have them come, because...
Yeah, when initially we called the police department a couple of times and they never made that an argument. Frankly, I built my house. I was a general contractor for 45 years, and I have a difficulty hearing. I don't hear any noise at all. I go to sleep, that's it. So my neighbors in back of me, they're concerned over the noise. Noise is not what bothers me, it's the concept, okay? It's a neighborhood. It's zoned residential.
We agree with you.
Coach, it's 2777 Northeast 24th Street?
That's it.
Okay.
It's on the list.
Yep, is it?
It's a certified, it's
licensed.
It's a license.
You know, they have all the inspections. It's been an Airbnb for just over a year now.
All the more,
About a year and 2 or 3 months,
all the more reason then, if they are if they're licensed, we can make sure they are abiding by our code. So tell your neighbors if they hear something, if they're exceeding the decibel levels that are provided in our code, we need to keep a record of all that so we can make sure they comply. So all the more reason, let your neighbors know that if they see something that isn't right.
We've pretty much done that, but they seem to be getting quieter people or something now. It's not too bad. Like I say, certain times, prom time and...
The Airbnb next to me no longer rents out Airbnb, but they lease the house for parties, which is ridiculous.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll do what we can. Anything else, public comment?
Everett Marshall, 2821 Northeast 44th Street. Now that and I'm not trying to be a one-trick pony, but it seems like it's baseball every time I come up here. But now that baseball has come back to Lighthouse Point, I believe, and it's probably an all year-round sport. We do it in the fall. We never did before. We do it in the spring. Would we consider, please, first off, we need a new fencing eventually. The portable fence that gets put in, that has to be replaced because it's getting old. It probably should be higher so that kids can't fall over it and get hurt and, et cetera. But I'm noticing now, being out there with the kids, that where the tot lot has been moved to, and where there's a little pavilion there, and then there's the volleyball, or the whatever that other, where the sand is. Volleyball. Volleyball.
Volleyball or swing set.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. All of that stuff. Is it possible that we might consider putting a 10-foot fence, permanent fence, from the first light pole where the scoreboard is, all the way to the next light pole, which would protect that area? Last night, obviously, when we were out there were kids, running onto the field. We were hitting baseballs, and they were going into the volleyball and all of that. Having that temporary fence, I understand you can't have a complete fence all the way around the baseball field, which would be great, and then that would be done, but that apparently can't happen. We'd like to make the field bigger. If we could put the permanent fence in that amount of space, which protects the people that are, the little kids that are back there playing, will allow us to make the field bigger when we put the temporary fence up, because there's not enough temporary fence right now to make the field bigger. The outfield is too short. It's only 185 feet. It should be 200 feet. And it actually should have a higher fence, but, we'll deal with that. That's not a big deal, but we need to make the fence longer. We can't make it longer because we don't have enough fence. But if we put the permanent fence up, it would do two things. Give us more temporary fence to use till we can replace, or the city can replace the old fence, and it would protect the people that are doing what they're doing, little kids and stuff, and the volleyball, the two tot lots. So just consider that. And one other thing is baseball season starts, I think, next week. We need to get the pitcher's mound fixed. I've asked Public Works, and maybe we can get that accomplished quickly. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Marshall.
Anything else? Public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Commissioners? Commissioner Van Buskirk.
Two things. We have, take our child to commission meeting night. I know that's coming around the corner.
We're looking at dates in May right now.
Dates in May, okay, I just was, like to have a kind of a, make sure I was ahead of that. The wife was asking about that question. And then, is it this week, waterways cleanup? Becky?
There's a county one, we didn't do one for the city.
So we didn't do it, but they did have a waterways cleanup this year. This coming Saturday, that's what I thought, I couldn't remember, yes, okay. So we do have a waterways cleanup this Saturday. It's actually for the county, so just throwing it out there if anybody wants to go out and help clean up your waterway.
Commissioners, anything else? Commissioner Mocker.
I was just going to mention something quickly that I thought was very productive. There was some concern by some of the residents around DeGroff Park, north end of the city, about an isolated incident of a couple of stolen cars and some dogs in the park and drinking in the park. And I guess over the President's Day weekend, there was parking issues, some other concerns. And one of our residents was threatening a lawsuit against the city. But one of our other residents gave me a call, and we ended up having a community meeting Saturday morning in DeGroff Park, where there was, I guess, 45 people showed up, and thankfully and appreciated the mayor went with me. And we had about an hour and a half session with those residents. Turned out to be very productive. We're going to get some things done. Appreciate the police chief was very helpful in working out some things that will help the parking situation and some others. So that's really the way to do it in this community. If we can have a meeting, obviously we can't have commissioners be there at the same time because then it's a violation, but the mayor went with me, and I think we did a lot to resolve some issues and pay attention to some of the residents. And this idea when people are always claiming, well, I'm going to sue the city, it just infuriates me. As the editor of the Sun Sentinel, I used to get that daily, and I used to say, take a number. But it's always somebody's first thing, well, I'm going to sue the city. That's not the way to get things done. The way to get things done is to listen to people, and I appreciate the mayor and the chief being very available and helpful in this regard. So I just wanted to pass that along.
And Public Works also did a great job at getting up there and looking at some of the things going on. What's interesting is one of the big complaints they had was about dogs in the park. And by their own admission, their neighbors are their own worst enemies, is what it came down to. So as we listened to them and heard some of their feelings, it was readily apparent that some of their neighbors were causing the issues, but they just wanted someone to listen to them.
Yeah, and as I've said, and we all agree, that park is a blessing and it's a curse.
It's a cool park.
It's a cool park, but there are people that will go release their dogs because they want the waterway, and there are people that will fish there all day, even though they're not supposed to be parked there all day. They do. So, we're going to increase enforcement in that area and do some other things, and I think they were very pleased that we went there, and there's just no need to be threatening lawsuits about things that we can pay attention and help solve. Anyway, that's all I had.
Anything else?
I've just got one thing. Tonight, FDOT had their public hearing regarding the road project from Sample Road North to the county line. I counted 28 people in attendance at the 4 p.m. session. Obviously, I could not go to the later session because I scheduled opposite our commission meeting, so I don't know how many were there. Most of the residents that were there were from Deerfield Beach, and not a single one spoke in favor of the project. The concerns are the same ones we've raised. Why would you put a bike lane that's 5 foot wide on Federal Highway? It's an accident waiting to happen. Scott Thurman did a very good job of explaining the project, and after his presentation was over and the question and answer period was over, offered to come back to our commission meeting to discuss the project further, with all of the, plus bring all the comments back we got. So we would understand the comments. But I think he is going to be going back to the MPO and letting them know that there are some very significant concerns out there, safety concerns, concerns about the fact that what is now a beautiful median is going to be destroyed, and that's going to happen in Deerfield as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with that project. It seems that they're still trying to move ahead with it. but the residents that spoke were very negative on the project.
I had two quick things. One, we had a discussion a while back. I just want to make sure we're on track. Some of the implementing ordinances, Mike, with respect to some of the charter amendments that we passed, where are we on those? I just feel like I don't want to miss one. I don't want to miss something.
You're not going to miss anything.
Okay.
We had a meeting earlier this month, working on the Planning and Zoning Board ordinance first. What we're good, that's going to be ready to go to the Planning and Zoning Board to get some feedback from them at their April meeting, and it'll be presented to you in April or early May for that. And we would expect that the other implementing ordinance, which is the ordinance that says when you're going to schedule your meeting to accept the election results, will be on that same time frame of bringing with you with that other one in April or May. Those were the only two that we looked at, the only two ordinances that needed to be done to basically implement those charter amendments.
Okay. And then the other thing, Mayor, I drive by and I think about it all the time. Talking about the bond and the fire station, our tenant, what's the status of the farm store?
The farm store I believe, has identified a new location, is what we've been told, but we do not have a date yet. We are trying to work with them and be a good landlord and try and transition them out. We initially had asked them if they could leave by December 31st. They came back and asked for more time because they wanted to find a good location that they could continue the business, because they did say they do get a lot of business from Lighthouse Point and they want something close to us. And there's not something similar to that. I believe the ultimate deadline is June 30th, Mike?
It's on a month-to-month, but we told them
But we're on a
to expect
month-to-month.
them to be out.
Are they paying? They're paying their rent.
They're paying the rent.
Okay.
And they have insurance.
Okay, that's good.
And, they've done all the things they said they were going to do.
Okay. You guys probably can see my concern. I know that's way down the road, but at some point, we're going to want to start building there. I don't want to be delayed because
We
built in that.
We built in some time in there in case something goes wrong.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Anything else, Commissioner? All right, seeing nothing, I believe that means we are adjourned. All right.